Happy Friday and welcome to the weekly recap. This is episode number, I think, 118. Maddie, I think that's right. And as you can see, we went a little bit crazy, a little bit special. Joined by some special guests, Maddie. Why don't you tell us what's up?
Hello, Rick, and hello, community members. Hello, Fabian, Hannes. Thank you for joining us today. Well, we are in Prague, and this is a special edition. We decided to change a bit the format and make it a bit more fun. So these two product management Veeam guys decided to join us. So thank you again for that.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Fabian, Hannes, now Fabian, you go by another name that we know here in the community. Why don't you give a quick intro?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Fabian Kessler. You may know me from the forums and the community as Detective Mildor. You may have seen me there.
Love it. And Hannes, why don't you introduce as well?
For me, it's a bit easier. Hannes Kasparek, my name. Hannes K on the forums, so it's pretty close. It's easier to remember.
Yeah, so these two are really central to our backup and replication or service provider products on the product management team, and we interlock with them on a lot of stuff, hence why we're in Prague this week. So big welcome, everyone. And so let's jump into it. We're going to get some perspectives from our special guests. So let's start with our first content up. And this is Fred Duke, which if I remember right, Maddie, that was kind of in the cool new names category a few weeks ago.
Yes, that was it. We didn't know how to pronounce it. We were just having fun with it. Free dog.
I still don't know. There's a lot of O's. I think it's an U or an O.
But the important thing is this is the first time we are mentioning free dog. With a post, so that's great. Welcome.
So Fred has brought this question about Sure Backup, SQL Server, always on clusters, which first of all, I'm glad you're doing that. We got to do Sure Backup because we need to know that, things are recoverable and the like. And, recovering, the databases are mounted as recovery pending state. And, is this normal was really the question coming up. And a couple of thoughts are brought up here. And some good stuff from Fred, and then Timo had some stuff, and it looks like Timo's got the same thing going on. And Dips has a pretty good piece of advice, log it in as support, and a lot of other pieces of advice. But anybody have any feedback on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of guessing here because, we don't test everything right now. And I got it today in the morning, so I'm not too much prepared on SQL Always On. I read something about the script and that the script is working if you run it standalone, but not if it's run by Veeam. And that's usually because when you run it on your own, then you run it under your user, while Veeam is running as local system. So that's always a good idea to check whether this is working. If you run it with run as, no, there's a helper tool in these Microsoft tools. I forgot the name of it, but then you can run a script also as local system, because normally you run it as administrator or something like that, but you really need to run it as local system to get the same result. For the recovery pending, I'm not 100% sure, because if a database is crashed, that might happen. But I'm not too deep into SQL Always On, so that's a question I cannot answer. But for the script, that's my guess, what can be tested.
Yeah, really. So there's two separate things. One is that script, and the other is the recovery pending. And, Fred, we don't have the answers, but I do like the security context run that Hannes has suggested here. And then the other thing I would offer to you, Fred, around recovery pending is just in SQL Server Management Studios or something that could take it out of that, or the like, or do you even have the logs available? Those types of things. So, first of all, I think it's great to do advanced configurations of Sure Backup. We're going to come back to that in a second. But for the viewers here today, if you've got something, if you've gone through this, share it for Fred. I think this is a pretty deep and pretty specific use case. And let's get talking about it. Good stuff.
I know that it's working because I heard it from customers that it's possible, but I don't have the answer to that one.
And there's so many different configurations
Yeah.
that could be out into play in the field with SQL, and then the domain controllers. Does that need to be in the Sure Backup job as well?
Yes, definitely for
Yeah.
authentication.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Frank Nord with silent installations, or at least the installation silently fails on the agent in Windows 7, trying to figure out what's going on. He knows that it's old and it's just holding on to it for that very reason. Went through a couple of things that didn't work and get some versioning here. Let's see where we're going. You know, I do think that, you know, if we can't figure out why the installation is working, a support case might be a good idea. But, you know, I don't remember offhand, but I think if we have SP1, that is a good sign. But yeah, anybody have any thoughts on this one, on what could be going on here?
Yeah, Rick, I take this one. I saw the post in the last few days in the forum. Let's say me first that Windows 7 SP1 is still supported by Veeam agent for Windows. So if a support case would be opened, we will be happy to help this customer. I saw the comments from Shane and from Chris. The first thing I would do if I don't want to open a support case, I would check the logs, as Chris has mentioned, in program files, Veeam endpoint backup. If there's something with the some issues with the installer, the logs should catch that. If you cannot find something in the logs, then maybe the manual removal of the entire Veeam agent is one option you can try. If you have uninstalled the agent, then please check that you also remove anything from the registry, because Veeam agent has some registry keys. And also remove everything from program files, Veeam endpoint, like Shane has told the customer, has commented. I also want to mention that while there are good tips and tricks in the community, it could make the issue worse. There could be some side effects by just following these tips. We always recommend a support case, if possible, because our support has experts which can analyze these logs and can provide a solution, especially for this case.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, Fabian, because if it was me, I would start uninstalling things left and right, and you know, whether or not it was listed in the log as an issue. But the reality is that I think that you're right. It could introduce new challenges. But the other side of it is the reason you have this system, Frank, it's probably important, right? So you don't want to be manipulating too many different things left and right. So that's a very good piece of advice, Fabian. Thank you for that. All right, I think I know where this one's going. I haven't read this one yet, but Bertrand has a really good one on rebalancing a large scale-out backup repository in V12. And we had a really good discussion in the forums about this type of thing, about moving things around as well. But Rebalance, one of the new things in V12, and you know, Bertrand's wanting to push the limits here and do a big rebalance. Has anybody done that type of thing? This is pretty compelling. I'd actually really want to see how it goes, and we got some good feedback from Michael and Derek and others, and you know, those types of things. But anybody have anything that they want to share on this one? Because this is really potentially quite interesting.
As you mentioned, the forums, is that the thread with Markus Kretzer, you mean?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Right. So cool. I gave the answer also in that thread. Yeah. If you have a large repository, don't do it. There is a reason why we hide it behind control key, because right now you can start it, but there's no way to cancel it. So you have to wait until it finishes. You definitely don't want to do that with hundreds of terabytes or petabytes of data, because it will take you weeks. So this is the first version in V12 where we have that. And the alternative would have been, yeah, we don't put it in the software at all. And so we decided, okay, let's hide it so it's available. But yeah, not everybody just clicks on it if you like to do that. So yeah,
I'll put a link to
don't do
this
it.
in here. A lot of reading, right? But this is maybe the outcome you want to potentially avoid. You know, it might take a long amount of time. So, is that the one you're referring to?
No, there's another one that Marcus
Oh, okay.
asked about rebalancing,
Okay.
and yeah, I
I'll
don't
find it.
remember.
I'll
Yeah,
find
there's another one, but he's also in the community active, so some of you might know him. And he is very deep into Veeam, very smart guy, handling all problems very good. And yeah.
Yeah. Now, if it's a, you know, if it's a environment that can really take a lot of work, yeah, you're right, then okay. But if it's an environment where, you know, backups are going to be running very soon, yeah, to Hannes's point.
Oh, they are
maybe
not
a good
running. They are not
yeah,
running because
yeah,
everything is in maintenance mode. So it's
yeah,
not that it takes weeks. You also don't get any backups because during that time
right,
the whole scale-out repository is in maintenance mode. So
right,
yeah, you definitely don't want to do that.
yeah. All right, well, that makes it really simple. Thank you for that. So now we're going to pivot over to special department news, and we did intentionally a little bit different. We brought in 3 type of discussions. We have the experts here, so let's chat about it. And that's kind of fun, which I think is awesome. So next up is Maddie. We got a new group that kind of soft launched this week and came alive. What's going on here?
Yeah, so as you said, basically today it was special. We had discussions instead of blogs as we usually have in our show. And we are going to skip the who's new, but we are not skipping the special department news, but because we have some really great announcements to make today. One of them is this group, the Cloud City, and I'm really excited about it. This is like a new thematic group. We just released it last week, and this is dedicated to discuss Veeam Public Cloud, SaaS solutions like M365, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, Salesforce, of course. The 2 leaders are Michael Paul and Heen. Michael is a vanguard and a legend. Heen is a new legend. And I want to thank them very much for this initiative. That was their initiative, so this is great. And I'm looking forward to see the evolution of this group. I'm convinced this is going to get so much engagement. And I want to announce that on the 9th of May, we are going to have a poll. They said it's going to be a call. It's going to be a short introduction from Michael and Heen. They're going to talk about what is the purpose of this group, and they're going to ask any questions that people might have, as well as learning from the public what are their expectations, what they want to see happening in this group. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. We are looking forward to have you all on the 9th of May. Join us, and yeah, just join and subscribe to this group.
Yeah, and let us know what you might want in the cloud world, right? It's specifically software as a service, M365, the 3 hyperscalers, right? So it's kind of important for us. And I think, Maddie, you and I might be talking a little bit free products here soon to kind of drop in there to let everybody know as well. So good stuff.
Totally.
Big thanks to Michael and Hin for being the leaders there. That's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Speaking of awesome things, also 10 things you didn't know about Coop Campus, which is the Kubernetes learning site. We've got a special online event coming up here with Cassandra and Jeff, it looks like.
Yeah, that's next week on the 2nd of May. And yeah, as you said, Jeff is going to have as a special guest Cassandra, who is Cast and Community Manager. And we are looking forward to hear all these new things that we didn't know about Coop Campus. So join us.
And this one and the one before, they're both will be on that YouTube playlist forever on.
Yes,
as well, right?
all of them.
Yep.
All our events are going to be on the YouTube playlist, and we are going to share it as well in the specific groups. This one is going to be, of course, in the Kubernetes corner.
Yep.
And the Cloud City one is going to be shared in the Cloud City, obviously.
Perfect. All right. Next up, another live event, but this one in Espanol looks like, with Jose and Luis talking Kasten. I'm seeing what, €130 voucher for your first test. Is that what's going on? Amazon or first
Yeah,
prize?
that's a surprise. I
What?
know what's that all about, but I'm not going to say it. It's just like a surprise voucher that
Okay. Let's
the
just
person
translate.
the
Let's just
person that is
translate.
yeah, okay. Why? I thought you speak Spanish, Rick.
I can order a beer.
Okay.
Oh, well, even I can do that.
No, I'm better than that, but no, this is interesting. So
Yeah, but this is going to be good, and it's still Kubernetes. It seems like we are having two Kubernetes discussions in the same week, right?
yeah.
Sort of. Well, the first one, the one at Kubernetes Corner, is going to be more about the Kube Campus platform rather than Kubernetes itself. But this is Kubernetes data protection with Kasten, and I'm looking forward for this event as well.
Yeah, and the
This-
stuff in local language does really good. We had that great French one a couple of months ago, so this is
Yeah.
great. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Jose Maria Quesada. This will be great.
Absolutely.
All right, the other important thing going on is Veeam on, and I got we'll talk about Michael's discussion here, which, by the way, I saw the slide deck, Michael Paul. This is outstanding. I want to share with you, at least from the in-person event, the number 1 and the number 2 most pre-registered sessions are from Fabian and from Hannes. So we'll talk about that here in a second, and I'll answer the big, what are the most pre-registered sessions? But, I think he means pre-event, right? A placeholder. Okay, so what's Michael doing?
Yes.
He's like land grabbing the discussion thread here. What's going on?
I think he's just kind of advertising his virtual session. Unfortunately, Michael is not going to make it to Veeam in person this year, but he has a virtual session about Shore Backup. I think it's going to be really great because if any of you attended the Shoreback session that Michael had at the VUG UK a couple of months ago, that was amazing. It got so much engagement. So I'm pretty sure this one, the virtual one at Veeam is going to be the same. But yeah, talking about that, as you mentioned, Fabian and Hannes sessions, we are looking forward to hear more from you guys.
Yeah, so I was going to just pull it up, but if I was a real expert at these shows, I would have prepared and pulled it up ahead of time. But I'll just describe. There's 2 sessions that are leading the pre-registration for the in-person. The one is, and it goes back and forth between number 1 and number 2, but these 2 are tied for the lead. The first is a session that Hannes and I and Christoph, is it Christoph or Christopher?
Ah, you're spoiling.
Oh, then I'll just leave it there with no more context. And I even said, let's not spoil it, didn't I? Yes. The first is Hannes and I, and a special surprise to be determined later. An all demos, an all demo session about configuring the Veeam hardened repository. So that's going to be awesome. And then Fabian, you and Andreas, your session is rocking. What is your secret session that you guys prepared that is going back and forth for the most pre-registered session?
Yeah, let me tell you about it. We have prepared a session about hidden features in Veeam Backup and Replication version 12. And we want to bring it in a format where we discuss field use cases, because Andreas is a system engineer from the field. He knows what pain points the customer have, what they need to do with the product. And we will do some sort like a role play on the stage where he will ask me how can Veeam version 12 help his customers to solve these use cases.
And Andreas, before he joined Veeam, actually was issued a Vanguard status, and then he hired with Veeam, so he never really got fully looped in. But he was on our radar quite a long time for good stuff.
He was also a VMVP.
Ah, there we go. So he's one of the few people that have been both programs.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And I can tell you about Fabian and Andreas' session. There's a heavy use of memes and cartoons. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I think
I love that.
I know it's awesome. And the best part is that the review process kept it in place. So many times they like to take out the fun, but this one I said we got to have it raw, and they left it in there. So this will be great. So
Yep.
Fabian, great work on that. Hannes and I were talking about our actual plan and then our secret plan for the all demo VHR session, but some really good stuff, and they'll both be on the virtual experience as well.
Yeah, let us know, when is that going to be, Fabian? When is that session going to take place?
The virtual one or the in-person?
Both?
I believe the virtual one has free run times, so you
Yeah.
can join. I'm not sure exactly which time you can join. The time you it suits the best.
It's
And
on demand. It's going to be on demand.
It's on demand.
Session.
Yes.
Okay.
And the in-person one is currently scheduled, I believe, for Wednesday,
3:30.
before or after lunch.
After lunch, 3:30.
Yep.
But one caution. I'm going to rearrange the schedule based on the demand for the in-person event. And then, for example, the Hannes and me session and then the Andreas and Fabian session, we're going to add a repeat because I want to solve the biggest problem of the room filling up. And then secondly, the virtual agenda, I believe the V12 hidden features sits on the agenda. So if you attend in Americas or EMEA or APJ, it'll be there at a time. Post-event, it'll all be on demand. So, there's many ways to consume Veeam content. The all demo session that Hannes and I are planning, I'm going to try to move it to a room where we record it. If not, then Hannes and I will do it again later afterwards for the virtual platform. So the real takeaway, friends, if you haven't signed up for the Veeam virtual experience, do it. Madi will be there. You and Sophia have a community session. Did you get that recorded yesterday?
We did record it, but we will have to record it one more time.
Oh gosh, it may or may not be obvious, friends, that Madalena has a very high bar of perfection and professionalism, unlike me, who just never practices and just shows up. So I'm just letting you know, that's how it goes. All right, hey, Fabian, thank you so much for joining us, Detective Milder, on the recap.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hannes, thank you as well. Bringing the voice of reason to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. First time for me in a recap.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And Madi, Madi does all the work. There is no beat around the bush there. So I just tweeted out. So anyways, thank you so much, Madi.
Absolutely. As always, Rick, my pleasure.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. And I think we'll be back at normal-ish circumstances next week for episode 119.